Today I'm taking a look at the Bethlehem Indoor Flea Market in Bethlehem, Connecticut. I've been wanting to come out here for quite some time, but it's really out in the middle of nowhere. And it's currently only open on the weekends as far as I know. I wouldn't really call it a flea market personally because I think it's owned by a single person, so there's not multiple vendors in here. But it definitely has a lot of the type of stuff you would see at a flea market. I definitely would not consider this an antique store though. There's very few items in here that are truly antique, maybe vintage, but not antique. They got a lot of toys, model cars, especially figurines, and household items, and pretty much everything else you can imagine. So this is interesting. It's a vodka themed bike, UV vodka. I've never heard of it, but if you're really into vodka, this is the bike for you. And as you'll see, this guy must really be into NASCAR because the place is full of NASCAR related items. Now this is interesting. This is some sort of mixing board. I don't know what it is exactly, but it is impressive. Looks pretty old though. I'm guessing maybe 80s, 90s. They have a huge collection of elephant figurines or statues here. I've never seen this many in one place before. Not sure if these are antiques or they're new, but that one right there, the little white one, looks like Dumbo to me. That one too, on the right of the frame. And like I said, if you're a NASCAR fan or a model car fan, you'll be in heaven at this place. And if these all came from one person's collection, you got to imagine how long this took them to collect. It must have been decades. Looks like old delivery trucks there from what I can see. So this must be the delivery truck section. Now this I found interesting. This looks like a bowling arcade game, probably from the 60s or 70s by the looks of it. And it's Williams brand. It's on hold, so I'm guessing somebody was buying it. But yeah, I would love to have one of these if I had room. I just don't have room for something this enormous. And then this is the section where the bears start. So we got a bunch of teddy bears here. Really more teddy bears than I think I've probably seen in one place before, at least in person. Now these are all ceramic bear figurines, and they look like they're probably all the same brand to me because they all look very similar to each other. Not sure what style you call this, but they all have that really fine detail to them. Now those are some vintage Bose 901 speakers. I'm guessing they're probably from the 70s, maybe the 60s. I'm not really an aficionado on Bose, but I think those are considered some pretty high quality speakers. And of course more NASCAR and trucks. Now tell me, is that strawberry shortcake right there in the center of the frame? If it's not, it sure looks like her. So if you're looking for bear figurines, this is definitely the place to come. Now, what is that lady sewing right there? Can anybody tell me? Because that's kind of disturbing. They have a huge selection of used DVDs here. I didn't really see any Blu-rays or VHS though, which was kind of disappointing, but yeah, if you're into DVDs, they have a ton here. And they're only $1 each, which is actually cheaper than if you go to, say, Goodwill, where they're usually at least $2 to $3 each. Now, one of the main reasons I wanted to come here for myself was their huge collection of comic books. They're all $1 each. But believe it or not, I did go through every single one of these boxes. It took probably 45 minutes to an hour, which obviously I'm not going to show it all. Out of that, I found maybe 20 that were somewhat interesting, but don't expect to find any expensive key books in here. Everything's been picked over, so it's good for filling a collection, but don't expect to strike gold. They have a pretty good selection here of old computer-related items and electronics from, maybe 10, 20, 25 years ago. So if you're into that, there's definitely something here for you. A bunch of old video game controllers there. This looks like some sort of knockoff version of Guitar Hero or Rockstar. Not sure if this would hook up to a console or not. And of course, more NASCAR items. They had a few CDs here, but really not that many, especially compared to the DVDs. They have a nice collection of Pez here. I really don't know if these are vintage or not. They look fairly new to me, but I don't really know my Pez that well. I wonder if the candy's still edible. Probably. I thought this was interesting, this copy of Fantasia. I think this is probably a VHS collection, but I'm not sure. It was in pretty rough condition, so I didn't look at it too closely. And I ended picking this up. This is an old LucasArts PC game. I forget the exact year, but I think it was late 80s, early 90s. Which I love that old stuff. And then they had a bunch of action figures, which I don't know if these were popular or not, but I didn't recognize most of the names on them. These almost look like the type of action figures, except for these ones, which obviously I know what Heroes is. The rest of them look like they were action figures you'd get at the dollar store that are off-brand, no-name, cheapo stuff. Because I've never heard of Pandora or whatever the heck these are. Definitely heard of Bionicle. But Front Row, I don't know what that is. It looks like actually probably NASCAR related. Yeah, it looks like it. And I do not follow NASCAR. Now this was pretty cool. At first I thought this was the Super Friends from the 70s or 80s, but I think this is much more recent. and a bunch of Happy Meal toys. Those look like the ones I used to get back in the 90s or so. And they do have a large selection of glassware and ceramics, plates, cups, glasses, that type of thing. Now, I'm no fine art critic, but I'm having trouble making up my mind on these paintings. Are these tacky? I'm honestly not sure. And now they do have a decent selection of dolls here. I actually don't know anything about dolls. I'm really not interested in dolls, but let me know in the comments. Are any of those worth anything? I have no clue. And they even have a Lady Di section. I don't see this type of stuff too often out in stores. So this must have been a single person's collection that they bought, I would imagine. I don't know. I think they could have found a better picture of that kid. And this kind of looked creepy to me. I don't know. There's something about that. Those two dolls. They're just creepy. And yet another collection. This time of piggy banks. And I know for a fact I've never seen this many piggy banks in one place before. Now this is really interesting. This appears to be carved from a single piece of wood. I don't think it was for sale, or if it was, there was no price on it, but I would think if this was for sale, this would easily be thousands of dollars. Now this is the front room that we came in originally. I don't think that's open up there. I think they use that for storage up top there. But this will give you an idea of how big this place is. And that's really about it. So if you're into NASCAR, cars, figures, figurines, teddy bears, glass, ceramics, this is the place for you. There's definitely a little bit of something for everyone, and I hope to come back someday, but like I said, this is out in the middle of nowhere for me. So if you liked it, give me the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hopefully I'll have some more videos like this again in the future. See ya!